Alright folks, how you guys doing? Hooked on the Fly 2 here, and today you might see me wearing a baseball hat. That's right, baseball season's here, baseball season started, which means ultimate dry fly fishing is about to begin. With that being said, we know the Hendricksons are already being seen on some of the creeks here in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey area. So, today we're going to be tying the Henry Ramsey pink Hendrickson. So let's get down to the vise and let's tie up a pink Hendrickson. Alright, so the hook and the vise that we have is a FW500 size 12 from Arex. The thread we're going to be using is Nano Silk 50 denier from Semperfly. And I'm just going to bring my thread to about the hook barb. I don't want to go too far back because our next step, I don't want to fall into the bend of the hook. So here I'm going to come in with some pink Hendrickson pink dubbing. And I'm going to do a nice thin noodle on my thread. You could barely see it, but I'm going to create a little ball here. I want this ball to be pretty tight and fairly decently big. Alright, and as Henry says, take it about 1/8 of an inch forward. So we're going to grab 6 microfibbits. We're going to do them about a hook and a half length long. We're going to keep them on top of the hook shank here. These are gray microfibbits. If you have dark gray, works better. If you just have gray, gray will work as well. The fibbits aren't going to be a selling point to a fish. The fibbits are just going to help the fly float down the river better. So as you see, I kind of separated them, and then I worked my thread all the way to that bump. And when I work it to the bump, they perfectly separate there. Alright, then I'm going to grab a turkey biot. Do not use a goose biot, use a turkey biot. If you look at the turkey biot, there's a clear area up top, and this is dark white. The clear I want towards me. So it's going to be away from you guys, but towards me. And I'm going to tie that in right on top of the hook point, hook shank. Work my thread back to the ball, and then work it up the shank about 2/3 of the shank up, which is about right there. Take your fibbits, bend them up, and cut them off. If your fibbits are not perfectly even at the tips, it's quite okay. Most likely you're going to lose one or two when you're unhooking the fish anyway. Alright, grab your hackle pliers, whichever ones you prefer, and we're going to begin, but we just lost our fibbit. So we're going to have to come back in here and re-secure it in. Sometimes the tips break, especially if you're using nano silk, so just be careful with it. If not, we'll have to select another one. Get it nice and secured in there, and then, like I said, just move your thread up. Just want to create a nice even body, and then begin your wrapping. I start going away from me because then you beautifully start getting these segmentations. If if you go towards yourself, you'll just get a flat surface. So I'm just going to create these segmentations here, and I'm going to do about eight turns. If you could get more, do a couple more. If you can't, just stop when you think it looks good, which I think it looks good right there. I think we got about 6 segmentations out of it. Right now I take my hackle plier off, keep my thread tight, and cut off that turkey biot. Alright, secure that, clean it up a little bit. Here we're going to come in with some CDC. We're using dark dun CDC, and I have 2 feathers. And I'm going to put them together, line up the tips so we have a nice even wing. With that nice even wing, we're going to measure a hook length for our wing, hold them nice and tight, do a loose wrap, get it down, and then tie them off. Once you have them tied on, you could cut off your access here. Just like that. And then what I'll do here, I'll just take 1 turn back, right there, that's it. And then I'll bring my thread forward over the wing, lifting the wing out the way and creating a little bump in the front here. This will allow the wing to stand up. Just like that. And you're already starting to get your body in there. Let's make sure we're recording. We are recording, which is good. Alright, so now we have that. Now we're going to take some Cree hackle. This is Ewing Cree. I like the Cree because it gives you that creamy bronziness with little beauty. And I wanted about a hook and a half gap. Hook gap and a half along. I don't want these to be too short. I want these to be nice and big. So, little unorthodox of a tie-in. We're going to start in the back, and then we're going to come to the front, moving the wing out the way. And I like this stem to come over the top like that. If it comes over the top of your shank there, usually your feather will wrap a little better. So we'll cut that off. Alright, and then we could start dubbing. So we're going to take some of that pink Hendrickson dubbing, and we're making a little thorax here. So we don't need to go too crazy on the amount of dubbing, but you do want a nice chunky thorax, and you do want to cover up some of that gray CDC. Now lift your wing back and go directly in front of it, almost like you're cutting it under, and secure that right there. We're going to get some more. I'm going to show you a little trick I like to do. I like to put a little more dubbing on than I need, and this will make the fly finish a lot quicker. Alright, so I have my dubbing on there. I'll still create my front of the fly here, but I'm going to leave a little dubbing there. What that's going to allow me to do is, when I finish it off, it's going to cover up my feathers. So I'm going to do a full turn behind. Okay, and one more turn behind the wing. Okay, once I have my 2 turns behind the wing, I'll move my wing forward, and I'll go directly in front of it once, twice, and 3 times. It's a total of 5 turns with the dubbing. And then I'm going to take my thread, and now I already have dubbing on it, so I'm going to cover that up. And see, it's going to create a nicer little dubbing head for you. There. Cut off this little trap tackle. And now you could go ahead and whip finish it. So you have a nice dubbing head already because you did that extra dubbing on your thread. Secure this. And we'll do one more quick whip finish just to secure everything. And that's it. Get that nice and locked. Snip your thread off. Once you have your thread off, you come in here and cut this straight underneath. This will allow you to do, it'll float nice and even. It'll be pretty. Come in here and when I get some of the feathers, the barbs sticking towards the back, sometimes I cut them off just so they stay towards the front. And there's your pink Hendrickson. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.